Or is this full-time MMA now?
I love full-time MMA right now.
Full-time MMA? Nothing else?
My life, man, yeah.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
Is Paulo Costa ducking his taco? Paulo Costa, the eraser, dismissed a potential fight with Israel Adesanya after his win over Uriah Hall, but instead called out Chris Weidman, which kind of answers that first question. I don't think you can be ducking someone if you're calling out the higher ranked, still very hard fight in Chris Weidman, right? Like when people said that Robert Whittaker was ducking Kelvin Gastelum, I'm like, no, he's not. He said he'd rather fight Weidman. You act like Weidman is fucking chopped liver out here. You know what Weidman just did to Gastelum and what he can do to really any middleweight if he gets him in that position? Chris Weidman is a fucking force to be reckoned with. Don't let that 3-fight losing streak throw you off. He was doing good in a lot of those fights, and if you aren't able to knock Chris Weidman out, you're very likely going to get fucking ragdolled. So when you pick a fight with Chris Weidman, that's not an easy fight. So that's why I say Paulo Costa's not ducking Israel Adesanya here. And he also actually was like, he doesn't know much about Adesanya yet. Both of these guys are bright prospects in the middleweight division. And honestly, I don't even know if you can call them prospects at this point, because now they're both in the top 10 of the rankings. They might just be future contenders of the middleweight division at this point, because both Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya looked scary in their last fights. I mean, I think that's the best word to put. Israel Adesanya looked amazing versus Brad Tavares, the top 10 ranked middleweight. He dominated him throughout the fight. His striking looked phenomenal. He was able to get up when he was taken down the one time in the fight. He showed great takedown defense again. I mean, Israel Adesanya really came out of his shell, if he wasn't already for you, in his fight versus Brad Tavares. A lot of people talked about his fight versus Marvin Vettori when he was taken down, how he didn't look amazing off of his back. But Marvin Vettori is very underrated, and also he was a lot bigger coming into the fight, it seemed like, than a lot of the middleweights. He was almost the size of Israel Adesanya. Both of those guys are big, but whenever I saw Israel Adesanya versus Brad Tavares, I was like, yo, Israel Adesanya looks like a legit fucking middleweight powerhouse. He just looked a lot bigger in there, that for some reason, that night than against Marvin Vettori. So Marvin Vettori, another prospect of the middleweight division, was actually able to have a little bit of success versus Adesanya. So some people kind of were like, oh, is Israel Adesanya the real deal? Is he a next hype job? But with his performance versus Brad Tavares, that question is answered. He's the real deal. Now, he doesn't have the jiu-jitsu of a fucking Damian Maia, but that's because he's coming over from a striking background. He's not supposed to. But his takedown defense is going to make it hard for anybody to get him down. So, with that being said, Israel Adesanya going into his last fight was campaigning for a fight with the winner of Paulo Costa and Uriah Hall. Paulo Costa was fucking hitting Uriah Hall with bricks that night. Uriah Hall did his thug thizzle. He looked great in the fight. He definitely didn't back down from the fucking Brazilian god-looking dude, Paulo Costa, the eraser. Uriah Hall was trying to land his spin and shit and actually doing decent. But boy, the body work of Paulo Costa sounded like somebody was running fucking sludge hammers into a fucking brick every time he threw a punch at Uriah Hall's body. I was like, God damn, he gonna knock his fucking liver out. Holy shit. And real quick, full-time family, before you forget, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to see more videos like this, just check out the video description, the Full-Time MMA Dojo over here at patreon.com/fulltimemma, and you can see a lot of other cool things, including the goals of this channel, which is something new, so make sure you go check that out. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. He was just hitting super hard, not even just in those exchanges, but that's really where it stood out, in the clinch. His body work in the clinch. Paulo Costa is a fucking heavy hitter, that's for sure. And with that being said, with the call out by Israel Adesanya, he really seemed like he had more of an animosity with Uriah Hall than Paulo Costa. You know, he said Uriah Hall was clout chasing and shit like that, and he actually had a bone to pick with Uriah Hall. But he said, hey, if Paulo Costa wins, I've been chewing on erasers my whole life too. So he's like, I'll fight Paulo Costa. So after Paulo Costa won, I was like, yo, I am all in on this fight. I mean, it kind of sucks because one of them has to lose and they're both kind of up-and-comers. So a lot of the times the UFC won't put their up-and-comers against each other because it's kind of like you're killing one of your guys, right? Instead of continuing to let them both grow. So I've seen some people believe that Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa is not a good fight because they don't want to see them against each other this soon. But me, I'm looking at it like, fuck are you talking about? This fight would be amazing. I understand from a business, and that's where the different mindsets come in. As a business, yeah, you probably don't want to lose one of your up-and-comers to the other one. But as a fight fan, I would love this fight. It's probably going to remain standing. They're both up-and-comers, and I don't know who's the scarier striker. Honestly, Paulo Costa's hitting motherfuckers with sledgehammers, and Israel Adesanya is the last style bender who can fucking keep you at range, pick you apart, still throwing crazy shit, great takedown defense. Like, both of these guys are fucking great fighters, entering their prime as MMA fighters. So I would love to see this fight. I think it would be a phenomenal fight. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Israel Adesanya was down when Paulo Costa was asked about it, and Paulo Costa was not as interested. Paulo Costa actually said he doesn't know who Israel Adesanya is, and that he was looking forward to a fight with Chris Weidman at UFC 230. I believe UFC 230 is possibly going to be in Madison Square Garden, so that would be a huge fight and a good location to fight Chris Weidman, as he is the home crowd guy. And so that would be a big fight to be able to get a win in Madison Square Garden against Chris Weidman. So hey, it looks like Paulo Costa's not really interested in seeing who the best prospect is, but he's already got his eyes on moving up the ladder toward the title shot. Can't be mad at him for that. But as a fan, I would personally love to see Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa right now after both of their performances. I mean, it's a fight that we could see sometime in the future, but I just think like right now, that if that fight were announced right now, I would probably go crazy as an MMA fan because both of them are coming off of great performances in the UFC on International Fight Weekend. Paulo Costa fought a day later at UFC 226. Israel Adesanya fought the night before at the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 finale, and he even called out the winner of the fight. So you got Israel Adesanya who's down, but it looks like Paulo Costa might be trying to move up the ladder a little quicker and potentially get to that title shot. And when he's calling out a guy like Chris Weidman, it's kind of hard to say he's scared or he's ducking Israel Adesanya, because that would be a tough fight. And honestly, if he fought Chris Weidman, man, it would do great for Paulo Costa if he was able to win, because it would answer a lot of the questions. We've seen his devastating striking last night, and we've seen it in the past. But how is he going to do against an All-American Chris Weidman, a wrestler like that? That could be a bad day for either of these guys. But Paulo Costa looks like he's up for the challenge. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated. Who's Paulo Costa going to fight next? I don't know. I would love to see Israel Adesanya, but he kind of wants Weidman. So let the full-time family know what you guys think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice. We do songs, we do fantasy fights. We've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lechemedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOG.